I'm not usually on this side, you know what I mean? So there's no tree coming out of my head. I thought I'd leave that for my guests. Basically they're like filmmakers as well as guys who are out there doing something really cool in the city. And I'm joined by Ryan Whittingham.
Whittingham.
we all get it wrong.
I call him Whittingham. That's how I wrote it. Ryan Whittingham and Joe Hird. How you guys doing?
How you doing?
Brilliant. Thanks for having us
We'll
here, man.
keep that gap in there.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Get the views up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. He messed up in the first 2 seconds. But you gentlemen have put together a project called Let's Make Film.
Yeah.
And everything, and it's a fantastic project, but it has this illustrious history. Talking to you guys, it's kind of like, it was like, okay, all right, here we go. It started out as Let's Make Film Pictures.
That's right, yeah.
Let's Make Film Pictures.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, does it?
It doesn't. I thought it was just me.
When I came on board, that's the first thing I changed.
Joe, smart man. All right, so Ryan, why Let's Make Film Pictures?
So I made Let's Make Films LMF Pictures at the time in 2022, and I was coming at a time when I just wanted to make films, and I felt like there was a lot of pressure in, if you want to make a good film, it would cost a lot of money. I have to find all these people that have got experience and knowledge to make a good film, and I don't have that kind of money. At the time I worked in the cinema, I was on minimum wage, I didn't have that kind of money, I needed to survive. But any creative wants to make something. We all want to go out there and just make things, but like I said, we don't have the money. So I thought, well, I want to make a production company like any filmmaker wants to do at some point in their career. They want to be able to have a production company, right? So I was like, let's be generic and do that. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make films with individuals that hadn't actually had much experience or any experience at all, and get them on a set where there's no pressure, there's no standards, there's no, if they mess up, it's over for them. They just get to make a film. So I wanted a production company where we could just have fun making things, whether it was on our phones, whether it was a cheap camera. We just wanted to do that.
Yeah, let's just make films.
Let's make films.
Yeah.
There you go. You can pick one. You can pick one.
Yeah. It sounds like that to me.
So,
and everything. But you did with your trainees. You did a couple of short films.
Yeah. So we made a couple of short films. Made them. The first few we did was on my iPhone at the time. But a couple of little bits for the gear and stuff like that, and we just went out and shot films around Liverpool and the Wirral, and had lots of fun with it, met some really interesting people and gave them opportunities. And through that, it gave me the inspiration and the want to go and make a film I've been trying to make for years. We talked about before why, and I thought this could be a great chance to get a lot of people that we've worked with who have just started out making films and put them on a proper set with a bit more money than we were used to, but I saved over time to make that money. It was a passion project at the time, and I just wanted to get those people on a film set where they could play around with decent equipment. We had some good equipment at the time.
We had a gaffer that came on board that just gave us all of her equipment for free.
I love people like that.
Yeah, us too. And it was like, that's the sort of passion project we had, that sort of crew we had that were willing to do that.
I mean, but also too, this was at the time when people were doing stuff like that. I mean, you also said this was because you're talking about why. We'll come to why, because that's where Joe came on board. But 3B7.
Yes,
that was shot near the end of the pandemic. So that was kind of like you finally getting,
that was my
grass is rolling. I'm trying not to curse.
Yeah. Please do.
But you know what I mean? Is that true? That's when you finally thinking, oh man, this is working.
So obviously at the time, I worked at a cinema, so the cinemas were the ones that just got shut down completely. So I had a lot of free time, but I loved the cinema. It's been a very important part of my life, and at the time I was scared we were going to lose it.
Yeah.
And I was coming at a time when I was like, maybe I want to have a go at directing films. So I used to just write stuff, and maybe I was like, well, I can have a go at directing. So I made 3B7, the script and all the pre-production in the pandemic. So it wasn't just a whole, it was a learning curve, because how do you do pre-production when you can't meet anyone? It was all that Zoom era and stuff like that. So it was a really fun era, but pandemic was over, we shot the film, and it was so much fun. And it wasn't the fact that we made a film, it was, I got to make it with these really cool, interesting people, and we just had so much fun. It was, do you remember the summer of 21 when it was like 36 degrees that one week?
It was about 36 degrees.
It was about 36 degrees that week, and it was hot, and you know we were shooting in the night, and it was like 22 degrees in a glass building.
Yeah, but like a cold Africa.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just testing their film knowledge because that's the line. You know what I mean?
But that was also the first time you like showed your film.
Yes.
So you put it on
yeah,
the
because it
cinema.
was that fact.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That was.
So that's when the audience got to see what you were doing.
Yeah.
How did that feel for you?
Personally, it was amazing because that was the cinema we shot it in.
Yeah.
So to put the film on in the screen that the title's based on, Screening 3 Row B Seat 7, it was a very personal and lovely moment.
Yeah.
3B7. We call it 3B7 because it was just easier to say on set, so that became its name. But
no, I like that. Then when you roll 3B7, I like that.
Yeah. So we made that. It was a really personal, beautiful moment. We had family and friends there and people just from the community, and it was nice. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but it sort of gave the origin of the mixers, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But to show a film and then to all go down the bar later and talk about it, talk to each other, see what we're all working on and what we could do next. That was this was still LMF Pictures era, but in that time, obviously, we didn't realize what we were about to create later on for what we're doing now. But at the time, it just felt great. It felt nice just to be part of this, like this community that does exist. We were like, oh, okay, there are people here that want to do this. There are people that want this. Yeah. This was really fun. So that was like a really good night.
Because I've been here like 22 years, so I remember the days of the Liverpool film nights.
Yeah.
And I remember when Hope Street used to be a mecca for independent filmmakers, including myself and everything. We used to run around like crazy gorillas, but you guys don't seem to like the gorillas, but I do. But let's get to your man Joe here, because like obviously every director needs one. They need a producer so that way they can concentrate on directing. And that seems to be what your philosophy is too, isn't it, Joe?
Yeah, that's what I'm all about. So Ryan mentioned the Project Y. So one of the first mixes that they did as LMF Pictures, that's where I came aboard. So I met, Ryan, but I saw Ryan and I went, you know what, I'll help you out. I'll produce your next film for you. I've done a load of projects in the past, but I wanted to kind of do a film in Liverpool. I've never done it there before, and I'd do it with a friend, and I thought that was really nice.
Now hold on, let me stop you for a second, because I know you guys did know each other before this, but Ryan, when a guy comes up to you and says, hey man, I'll produce your next film, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that moment, that puddle moment, like, you gonna produce my next film? Like, how much you gonna give me? Right?
Well, it was
the answer was nothing.
I know what your answer is. I want to know what he felt when you said I'm gonna produce your next film.
It was a lovely moment because obviously Joe will explain this more, but he was looking at straying away from filmmaking, where I was really getting into it.
He had a big background.
So he was looking at it and he was like, I'll do it and I'll stop after that. So for me it was lovely because me and Joe met 9 years ago. We met at university all the way down in Bournemouth. We met down there, so it just felt like a nice like full circle moment. It was like, oh, brilliant, because
two lads from Bournemouth.
Not from Bournemouth, from Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
Got to get that in there, otherwise my mum will kill me.
Dude, I'm from New York. What do I know? Let me say what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Two lads from somewhere.
Yeah.
About. Yeah. All right. We'll give it to Yorkshire because screw Yorkshire might be watching.
So yeah, it was just a lovely moment. I was like, oh, brilliant, because I was like producing, directing. I was doing that classic, you do every role.
You do everything.
And I know, and I know Joe's skills. He's very talented at what he does, and just have one of your best mates working on it. I was like, oh, this could be really good. And those final few months leading up to it were great because I've never worked with a producer. I was always doing it myself, self-teaching.
What did he do?
Me or Joe?
What I want to know. What did he do?
Well, Joe came on board and just allowed me space to direct, which I've never had before because I've had to do risk assessments, then you're doing a shot list, then you're talking to the whole crew, and then you're planning your shot. So it's like, okay, it's a lot, but I'll do it. So when Joe came on board, I was like, I can just have space to just work with the actors, work with my DOP. And at that time, it was amazing because I never had that. So I got to like really get myself involved a bit more. I could go to the church that we were shooting in. I could meet the actors more, knowing that Joe.
You block and everything without somebody saying to me that the actors didn't show up.
Yeah, the food isn't there.
Or, you know,
that's brilliant.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That kind of thing, yeah.
So that was like really nice.
So Joe did everything except for go to the ATM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the ATM, but with his card.
Yep.
Oh!
And that's good.
He also went to my house and did all the cooking.
I did do that. Yeah.
What a producer this guy. Let's go into your process, shall we? I mean, like, because your previous works, you were talking about, you did a show for Channel 4, Youthless?
A short, yeah. So there was a place called The Unit, which is in Bradford. It was like a hub for filmmakers, and they had this scheme where Channel 4 and Bradford Council co-funded productions, and one of them was Youthless, and the director of that was Jordan Scott Kennedy, and he came to me and said, do you want to produce it for me? So I agreed to do that, and it had like a 10k budget, which went to 12 at the end, but 10k from them, and that's how I kind of did my first big production with funding.
So wait,
and all that.
they said, here's 10k, you want to produce?
Yeah.
I've never heard this story. I mean, well, I've never heard this type of story before.
Yeah.
Why you? I mean, what sign were you wearing? That,
I know.
You want to produce? Here's 10k.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe it was a miracle
show
moment.
me. What do you think happened?
Well, I'd done a few shorts before. The guys that asked me hadn't.
So you had a track record?
Yeah, a little bit, but not like nothing funded, anything like. It was all my own projects, stuff that they quite liked. The company's Idle Work Factory, so they quite liked it. They hadn't done much themselves either, so it was all about like new entrants, new filmmakers. Jordan was a writer, and he wrote this script. I really liked it. I wrote one as well, but we decided to go for that one and produce that one. And it was a really cool project. It was called Youthless, and it was about kids in a council estate, and they acted a bit like adults, and adults acted a bit like kids, and they were all a bit messed up.
Kind of Charlie Brownish.
Yeah, and it was a really cool.
Americans who know what I'm talking about.
But it was a really cool project, and that was kind of my big first time doing a production with like 20-30 crew and stuff like that.
So you also ended up doing a series, I believe.
No, so the short film was picked up by Roland Productions as a TV show to be written by Jordan. So now he's writing that for them.
So Youthless was picked up now to be a series?
Yeah.
Oh, right, no, okay. So where was the project that you were a runner, then you became a third AD?
So I worked as a runner for nearly 3 years in different areas. So I started on a show called... can't remember. It's a period drama, but it was not a drama. It was a period, reality show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You were running. So
Yeah.
You were just going around picking up stuff.
Yeah.
But you ended up being the third AD on that project, or did you?
No,
move
so I
up
was.
to being the third AD.
So from that, I was just a normal production runner. Then I met this the exec's PA who really liked me, and so she took me on for a few more projects, and I ended up moving into the AD department through that.
Isn't that what it's all about, though?
It is, yeah.
It's personality, isn't
That's
it?
what I always say.
Yeah,
so when we talk to people, it's always like, yes, you can be great at running, but if you're not talking to people, you're not making friends, you're not enjoying it.
If you got your headphones on,
Yeah,
if
you're not going to get anywhere.
You know, like blasé, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, terrible.
It's like, how would I know that was going to get my next job from the exec's PA? Only by talking to her.
Yeah, exactly. You thought you had a date. But it's not like, you said you and Ryan worked together on Ryan's film, Why?
Yeah, so I met him at the mixer and I said, I'll come on and produce this film. I was kind of strayed away from filmmaking at the time. But then I was like, you know what, it'd be fun, it's a friend, and he's already got some money in mind as his ATM. And I said, I'll do it. So I came on board and we started pre-production. The first thing I said to him was, I'm producer, you're director, leave our roles separate. And it went from there.
So Ryan, tell me, like, the concept of the pitch was like your relationship with God.
Yeah, I am.
And let's understand this, right? For those who can see, Ryan got that mullet going on, kind of like your meditation and everything like that. So what was your?
It was just I had this
one. Please, we don't talk about religion.
I'm not religious. It was disclaimer. So I have like a fascination with religion and God in general, its origins, why it exists, people's own relationships with it. I experienced going to church for a period with an ex-partner.
Yeah.
So I was in with all that. So I just witnessed what church is like, what modern church is like, what religion is, and I just found this sort of intrigue. I like to make stories when I was writing and directing, and I like to explore stories where I don't know the answer to things.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't know what a God is, who a God is, why it exists. So I wanted to explore that through the idea.
The American film fan in me imagines you on a hill. He's going. Did that moment happen?
That's a sequel.
Yeah.
It's coming out soon.
Stole the idea. So I mean, like, so you guys have a background and seeming obviously you love film and everything like that, but you know, putting together Let's Make Film, which, as Joe said, does no longer Let's Make Film Pictures, but Let's Make Film.
Yeah.
You know, like you had an ethos around it. You said something about you wanted to show how Liverpool is a good working place. What do you mean by that?
So when we did Why, one of the first things we did was we said we want heads of department that have experience, but underneath that we want to give opportunities to first-time filmmakers, people who have never been on a set, and say, look, this is how it could be. So I always ran that set. I was also the first AD on it. I ran it in a way that was like a professional set. So it was like we're sticking to 10 hours. We're not going over that. We're sticking to rules, permits, all that. So they get that experience. Yeah, exactly. And they get that experience.
I said that as a man, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of how that bit started. But we're all about like giving the professional world, but on a short film scale. That's kind of what we want Liverpool to be. So yeah, we want you to not be guerrilla filmmaking, not going out and getting permits and permissions. But
not going now without permits.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you really meant.
But we also, you know, want you to have fun, enjoy it, you know, make it an art, not just a business.
So running from the police is a lot of fun.
That's also in the sequel.
So we had, I don't want to say we had an argument. I would say we had maybe like a disagreement, or we had like maybe a misunderstanding around the idea around production value.
Yeah.
You know, and I was trying to say is I like to make sure that all films have a certain amount of production value, and for me, as both a producer and first AD myself, you know, production value is like there's got to be something in that film that signifies it. You know, like you know the difference between Tarantino and Spielberg. You know, they have two distinct styles, but when you probably come across this with new directors and stuff like that, they don't even seem to know what their style is or what they are. So, but you know, to try and tell them about production value and having that really cool shot. But you felt production value was something else. What did you think was?
We were saying that we think that like production value is all about having a special moment, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the best equipment or the best crew. It's about having a good idea, having that style, like you said, having the director have something from that film, even if it's one moment out of the whole 20 minutes or whatever it is. That's got some texture to it. It's got some. You've had some thought and something that's in there, you know, that makes you go, that's special. Yeah. That's what's important to us.
Well, I mean, all I know is that Ryan made an insulting comment. He said, "I don't want to make park bench films." And I said, "Okay, I made a film that had a park bench." Like, I'm only talking about you, but tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah. So I think, how do I say this? We don't want people to just go out and go on, like, I call them park bench films because it's a classic college uni film where you go on a park bench and you have a chat about something that's happened in your life and stuff and
love,
all that, and we think, well, that's not what filmmaking is, because it's just something that you're not being creative, you're not taking risks, you're not having fun, you're just making something that anyone can make. And that was sort of the origin for when I've started LMF Pictures, but it's carried on because we don't want people to just think safely. We want people to take those creative risks and have fun doing it.
It's not like your first thought when you go to write something, because I think your first thought is, I need to have someone on a bench, I need them talking, I need shot, reverse shot, and that's my film. That's
probably what's helpful in working together, is that, you know, realizing the importance of having not just a producer but a first AD. It's never your first thought, because you have like that Star Trek triad. You know, you have that consultation between Spock and Bones. You know, like, this is what I want and how I want it. And then there's another suggestion, and you're open to that suggestion.
Yeah. I think we always say that when we bring people on board and stuff, it's question every decision you're making in filmmaking. It's like, why are you doing a reverse shot for a park bench? Is it because it's the first thing you thought of? Is it because it's the easiest thing to do? Is it what you can afford?
Yeah, when people say, let's make it simple.
Yeah. No, make it special. Yeah.
Oh, you say simple.
How did you
they wish it was?
How did you shoot your park bench scene?
Alright. I shot it in the wide, and as the girl was on the phone on the park bench, and the guy wants to talk to her and everything, and he's going back and forth, that whole kind of like devolved thing and everything like that. But it's all, you feel his angst, because it's about like a relationship development over a day and everything, like a kind of girl out on the date and stuff. It's like, and what I want is emotionality. Give me a moment of emotionality for you in your film. Any film.
Any film. The one that stands out for me is when we were shooting Y, and it was the last few hours, and we had a really complicated shot to do, and we spent months planning it and got it right. And Joe came up to me in that final few hours and said, "We can't do it the way you want to do it now. We're going to have to change things around." And it was very stressful.
And this was a 12-minute one shot.
Yeah.
Basically,
12-minute oneer.
What had happened? Because we got all that light.
Spielberg.
Yeah, because we got all that lighting equipment for free. The kit house had given them the slightly worse lights than we wanted, so it couldn't shoot through the window. It had to be inside. And it was meant to be that the main actress went round the church, but because the lights couldn't be outside anymore, they had to be inside. That whole side couldn't be seen, so we had to move it from being all the way around to being a semicircle, basically. But the timings were all done in rehearsals for months beforehand for going round. So we had to edit that.
But then when you got to that moment,
well, it was... So Joe came up to me, and Joe, because this is how great Joe is, he's a filmmaker, he also understands, so he helped me on the next best way we're going to do it. But what was beautiful was, I think we had about 12, 13 people in there, and every single individual came together in that last hour and a bit to completely change the block and completely change how we're going to do it, completely change the setup, and everyone came together in a way I haven't seen before. And we had the whole team come together. We had at one point with 6 people behind the DOP because we were all needing to get this shot right, and we had people, the shoes were off, we were stressed, we were tired, but everyone came together and we got the shot, and the shot, crazy enough, was even better than what we planned for months and months and months. But just watching that happen, because I was stressed, I was like, I can't believe we're not going to get the shot. But watching, the trainees come together and just pull in there, watching Joe get everyone together and orchestrate them in such a wonderful moment, it made me so happy to realise this team that we have here, these people that just want to make films, just had so much fun in what would be a stressful moment. Normally you'd be like, oh no, how are we going to do this? But not one person stressed, not one person shouted, not one person thought this isn't possible. Everyone just came together, listened, respected each other, and it was such a beautiful moment. And it was in that moment I was like, this is what it's about. It's not about screaming and shouting and being like, I want this, I want that, we can't do this, I'm stressed now. It's just watching a team to come together. These individuals that we just met a few days ago now feel like really close friends. We're having so much fun. We were laughing in it all as well. There was a part of it where we were down to the last seconds, and we could see the sun because the sun was vanishing. And we were getting to the last part of this 12-minute shoot, and we nailed it. And a plane came over the church,
as we said, Kurt,
and we were all looking at each other like, "You're joking."
What, did you want the plane? Or?
No.
The plane was meant to be there, but then the sound guy was like, "It's okay. We can that can be cut and post," because she was far away enough, and we all just clapped. We were all just so happy because we were like, "I can't believe it." But that was a beautiful moment for me. Just seeing the whole team come together in a moment of stress and just create something even better.
I got that beat. I got that beat. I usually don't talk about myself, but I have to because I'm a filmmaker. So I was working on a music video because I used to do these Wu-Tang videos. Now I had 40,000 and that, so don't hate me. But basically, it was the end of the night shoot and everything like that. Crew wanted to go home because I was just eked over my time limit and everything. But I didn't get my main shot, which was a rain shot, right? That was going to run throughout the whole video. So my art director, small guy, right, Alan, shout out to Alan Bruckner, right, has to pull out a rain tower, and I'm like, yeah, all right. So I tell the DP, so they gotta help him like set up the rain tower. DP like, dude, they want to go home. What do you mean they want to go home? This is the last shot. We gotta get the shot. We're all here for this one shot. We've been here all day for this one shot. You know what I mean? And he's like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. You don't want to tell me? Okay. Right, Kevin, Tim, Bobby, all my brothers, who were the runners on the shoot, right? They lined up in unison, right? And they helped this guy, right, lift this, 6-foot rain tower. And then I got in there, right, to help them, and the guy in the middle. Producer comes over, go in my ear, Now this is all filmed, so I encourage you to watch this. Comes over, it's like, why are you doing this? What do you mean, why am I doing this? Because it's got to get done.
Yeah.
Well, why aren't the crew doing it? I don't know. Why don't you go ask them?
Yeah.
Right? And then you can see the cameraman follow the producer over to the DP. Why aren't the crew doing it? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Right? Because you're all getting paid. Anyway, rain tower goes up. Rain happens. One shot only.
Yeah.
Right? Shoot the whole song. It's beautiful. It's magic. Right? Just because, one, you're mates. And two, it's like if it has to happen, it has to happen.
Yeah.
Even the grip guys are looking at the freaking monitor because it's on a remote crane.
Yeah.
You know, that with a crane goes.
Yeah.
And then shut the fuck up. I just said we're past our 10
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Beautiful, isn't it?
It's amazing.
It's called
amazing.
By the Wu Syndicate. All right, so let's get to what you guys got going on now. And
Okay.
everything like that, because I hope you find you guys just fascinating. Let's make films. So basically, you guys do a lot, right? One, you run a development course. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so we do a development course for above the line crew. So we ran 6 sessions before Christmas for screenwriters.
Yeah.
So that was just every session was like a different aspect. So the first one was formatting, then it was structure, then it was dialogue. Now we're running producing ones. So we've just done the second one, which was all about risk assessments, breaking down scripts and stuff like that. And we do these once a month for the whole year. So every month.
And you, for kids, you run a Saturday club, which is full, by the way. Dang it. But tell us about this that is running at the fact.
Yeah, so the Saturday Club, they call the National Saturday Club, and they're an amazing charity, a really great organisation that give opportunities to underprivileged kids, and basically 13 to 16, and run different clubs throughout the whole country. So, for example, we're doing film and TV, but they run clubs for science, sports clubs, fashion clubs. They do loads,
But
and
this
amazing.
Soft skills club kind of like.
Yeah, so it's like learning your basics, and we're very lucky, very privileged that we're running the very first Saturday club in Liverpool, and we're running it at the Fact, and basically we're giving opportunities to these underprivileged kids to just learn about filmmaking, learn about what filmmaking is, have a go at different departments and learn about lighting, makeup, have a go at directing, editing.
And you're bringing in professionals as well to help with
Yeah,
that.
we bring in, like, we do master classes, but it's all about them learning what filmmaking is and just having so much fun that they really want to chase a career or go to university, go to college, feel like this is something they can do.
Yeah,
Like the
well,
arts and the creative sector
it
is still
isn't it?
alive and well, and these kids can be the next generation that can tell these unique stories, that can use this
Now,
unique
even though
technology.
this just started, how is it going?
It's going really well.
Loving
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
The kids absolutely love it. Like
Yeah.
last week, we
I
got
can
them
imagine.
involved. The first week we did about like running a set, and it was all about them being ADs and talking to the crew and making sure that everything's on time. And they got really involved and they were working as team. And by the end of it, they were like laughing and having a great time. And then last week we did directing, and they got to like direct a scene that we gave. So we had like a 1-pager, and they went out and did different things. And one team like made it a horror, and it wasn't a horror script, and it was like,
Well,
that's
kids,
creativity.
When you get them choice, horror is always they go to.
Yeah.
They do horror film.
Yeah. But we love to see that creativity, and like we finished literally a minute before we were meant to finish, and they were like, can we just get that last shot in? Can we get that last shot? Like we just talked about with our films, and
Yeah.
that's the sort of thing you want to spark. And
No, it's not. No.
yeah.
And you see like how much fun they're having. That's the most important thing for me,
Yeah.
Joe and Maddie, is are they having fun? Yes, they're just having fun. They're coming up with new ideas. They're being creative.
Yeah.
They're enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
They just want to make things. And these are 13 to 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
This is.
I mean, that's where their minds are
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
expansive, isn't it?
And like we always say, this is the start of a pathway. So like 13, maybe your first time you ever like looked at film or anything like that. You don't really do media courses at that age, and by the time you get to 16,
Yeah.
that's when you're maybe starting to think about like college and uni. Maybe not, depending what you want to do. But we think that there's a pathway in Liverpool can be created where you go from like our Saturday club, and there's BFI Academy with Fact and First Take, and that's 16 to 21. So there's a little bit more of a pathway there. So we talked to that, like the Film Office obviously sponsored this for us a little bit, as well as National Saturday Club. So they're really keen on creating these journeys through Liverpool, and I think that's a really interesting thing.
Fantastic. So, and then for like the adults or the adult newbies, you have a creative mixer
Yep.
Yep.
and
Yeah.
everything that also is artifact and everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, as you say, it's not like your usual networking, and really just kind of like what.
We don't like the word network, and we feel like it's a very it's almost like got to wear a suit, got to come with a pitch. We created the creative mixer, because we wanted the people of Liverpool, the community, the creatives, the filmmakers, anyone who wants to get involved in that sector, to just meet each other. It's not about coming in and pitching your idea. It's just getting to know who's in the area, discovering who your next friend could be, or knowing what's happening, what kind of short films will be made, who's making films here, and just ease into that community, because we didn't have one. Yeah. That's why LMF Pictures was
right, because the community died when the Media City happened in Manchester. It was a really strong independent community.
Yeah.
From 2005, 2010, and everything. Media City, it just collapsed it,
Yeah. And we started that 15 months ago.
Yeah, September.
We do one a month.
23,
and that's because there wasn't anything there. Now there's things popping up now. We have new crew with Liverpool location, and this is great. We love to see loads of different mixes, but at the time it was just about bringing these people together and saying this is somewhere for you all to come along to.
So usually I would say at this point in time, coming down to the end, is how can people find you? But before I do, you have some upcoming events. So you have the Sandbox Showcase, which is next Wednesday, as according to this filming is confirmed. It's already sold out. Right? But I couldn't get it. But
that's a testament.
There's one coming up.
That's a testament to the community. So originally,
I threw you a softball. I said, but then there's one coming up.
And I just want to use this moment to celebrate the community as well, because these are when we did our first one back in November, it was on Screen 2. They sold that one out. Yeah. So we said we'll go to Screen 1, and they sold that out. So people want this, and people want to celebrate the talents and the individuals and the films being made here, and we love that. That's the most important thing to us. That the filmmakers there that night get to see their work on the big screen in front of a sold-out crowd, where people want to celebrate each other, they want to inspire each other, they want to keep making things, and that is just a wonderful thing for us to be seeing. And
I talked about that pathway, but it's also an end goal. Even if it's not the end of your career, it's somewhere to put your film, somewhere to show what you've done and get people, involved with what you do. And I think that's key.
Right. Let's see if the producer catches this ball. So, but then, if this one is sold out, the next one's in May.
The next one's in May.
Not too late to sign up for the May Sandbox Showcase. I should get a job, right?
Yeah, so we do it every 3 months. So there's February, May, there's one in August, and then one in November again.
Now he knows these.
So with the showcase, submissions for it are open every single day. So basically, if you go on our website, you can submit your short films there, but it's a £10 entry fee, and it's a one-time fee. So when you submit your film to us, it stays on our database. So if you don't get picked, for example, the May showcase, you consider automatically for the August, for the November showcases, because
we have more than one film.
Yeah, well, if you have 12 animations, if you have more than one film, it'd be separate things.
Yeah.
So you had to pay for each film.
Yeah. It'd be each film, but it will always be considered for every showcase, because we believe that we look at film festival prices, we look how, I see people paying £60, £70 and not even get considered. We don't want to put people out. We'd rather that money go towards making more films and putting in that, into those budgets. So we want people to feel like there's always an opportunity. I'm going to see my film on the big screen, whether it's May, August, whatever.
No, I dig it. So when I say how can people find you, how can they find you?
On Instagram, it's LMF Liverpool. On our website, it's letsmakefilms.co.uk, and then we're on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, LMF Liverpool on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So we got that one in there and everything. And but you also, at the end of February, you have a skills workshop.
Yeah, so every month we also do a skills workshop where we bring in a masterclass, so it's someone that's working in an industry at the minute. The next one is February 26th, and it is a costume workshop, but it's specifically a period costume from the perspective of a crowd team. So a crowd team is like the people that get extras through a film set. So this one is like, how do you get 300 period drama costumes? How do you dress them? How do you get them through? That's what we're doing for that one.
Joe's a professional. He knows how to do it. Like that, And I mean, I'm probably way out of time, right, Jess? But the last one, the DIY challenge, and last because it's the last one.
Yeah.
DIY challenge, quick.
So the DIY challenge is a free challenge to enter as part of the Sandbox Showcase. So every 3 months, when we announce the next showcase, we also announce the next DIY challenge. So it's free, and basically you go out there, you make a 5-minute or under 5-minute short film, and we give you the challenge. So the previous 2 we've done, we did found footage, and we did guerrilla filmmaking. So we set challenges and people go out there and make them, and the best one wins and gets shown at the showcase. But our next challenge, which is an exclusive for the Big Condo Academy, it's an exclusive, is going to be a rom-com smartphone filmmaking. So
the smartphone rom-com.
Smartphone rom-com. So you can choose.
Then do it on a smartphone.
So you can shoot a romantic, you can shoot a comedy, or you can shoot a rom-com. But the rules has to be shot on a smartphone. You can't use.
We'll know.
We will know.
Anyway, none of that getting rid of all your old films here. Gentlemen, I'd just like to thank you for joining me here in the studio, also suffering through my stories. But what it is that, it's fantastic because I love talking to creatives, man, because you felt the energy, didn't you?
Yeah,
I felt
absolutely.
and stuff like that. So Ryan Whittingham and Joe Hird, Let's Make Film. No longer Let's Make Film Pictures and everything like that. And don't forget about the showcases, which are all sold out. No, I'm kidding. And everything, you can find everything on their website, as they said, and everything. But it's been fantastic talking to you.
Brilliant.
Thank you
so much, Chase.
You know what? We out of here.